episode of Tokyo Ghoul, there's action, there's blood, there's big badass scythes cutting through twin ghouls. This week's episode was pretty damn awesome. If only the animation was a little better, this might be one of the best episodes of the entire series. However, I'm not going to complain. When I get an episode that's comprised entirely of action scenes and ending on a great cliffhanger where the main character goes through a massive transformation sequences, then sign me up on board. This week's episode was fantastic. I especially love the way it opened up with Amon and Mato going to the internment camp where all the ghouls are at, and this is also when we finally get a little bit of backstory about Amon and his actual family life. Now, we've always known that he's an orphan, but we never knew who took care of him, and apparently the priest who is in charge of this orphanage loved to eat children. And that's because he's a freaking ghoul. He's crazy, and he's locked up in this place, and he seems like one of the more normal ghouls that we've actually seen in the series, but that's probably because he's locked up like freaking Hannibal Lecter. But before him and Amon can even have any sort of development or even talk to each other whatsoever, a big attack happens. Aogiri group comes in, they start attacking everybody, busting out their buddies, and this gives us an excuse for a ton of action scenes. Pretty much every major character from the show gets to do something really awesome in this week's episode. So let's just talk about some of the main battles. First, we have Mato and Amon fighting against a bunch of random ghouls, but in particular there's that one character named Naki who has his two bodyguards which wear the white suits. They're big, they're bad, they're very similar to Yamori or Jason, except that he's a little more over the top, and there's a lot of scenes where he's constantly getting attacked and stabbed in the stomach, but he continues to just go crazy and attack. And Akira is very different from her father. She's certainly got a similar personality. She's not as batshit insane crazy, and she certainly doesn't seem like she's much of a fighter when compared to her father, because she does get beaten pretty bad this week and even has a chunk of her leg bitten off by Naki. That is until Amon comes in and just starts tearing up the place with his massive twin swords. Another battle that I think was really interesting, and something that is revealing something about the backstory of Ayato, is that one other senior member from CCG who has the ghoul armor. He puts it on, it looks a little different from last time, but this sends Ayato into a rage, and he actually mentions his father. He calls him Pops. And that's possibly because the armor that this guy is using is actually based on Ayato's father. It's actually made from his body parts, and this is of course just going to end up having a really great battle for these two. But the one that's really important this week is between our main character, Kaneki, and this new character by the name of Mr. Sachi. He actually does have a real name, but his nickname is Mr. Sachi, and basically he's just this big, buff, badass martial artist who honestly fights a little different than some of the other ghouls that I've seen in the series. He prefers hand-to-hand combat, and I'm guessing that's because he himself is a martial artist. He sort of gives off that vibe. His actual kagune, his weird ghoul tail, or whatever the hell they're called, it's a little different than the other ones too. It actually kind of reminds me of a whale tail, just the way it looks and the way it's used in battle, how he uses it to just throw Kaneki through buildings. And at first, it almost seems like Kaneki does have the upper hand in the battle when he reveals his kagune, and this sort of throws Shachi off guard because he's reminded of Rize, and he even gets stabbed in the back a couple of times. But little by little as the battle's going on, he just takes complete charge, sends him flying through walls, massive punches. It's really impressive. And right before they get to the final scene, there is the other battle that's going on between Juzo and these two brand new characters who are the twins. And they have some sort of connection with Juzo, who apparently his old name used to be Rei. They even called him that. And I'm not sure where this is going. A lot of people have hinted at the fact that the twins, their kagune, look deceptively similar to Kaneki's, who was also Rize's ghoul. And the fact that they also have one eye could have some sort of connection to them as well, but that's really sort of up in the air at this point. But the fact that there are two of them fighting against Juzo does help their chances, but Juzo's got a brand new weapon. It's the Jason Scythe, and he's just taking out ghouls left and right. I can't wait to learn a little bit more about this guy. He clearly is having a lot of fun during this battle. But the episode ends with probably the biggest shock of this week's episode, where Kaneki's going through a drastic transformation sequence. In the final shot of the episode, you get to see he has this brand new mask on his face, which has this one big singular eye right in the middle, and it's a very angular looking mask, and it kind of reminds me of a combination of the CCG's armor and of the Owl, the character that we've seen. It's kind of like that. Basically, he's taking his power and he's manifesting it into armor that's going around his body, and this is probably where he's going to take charge of this battle. So, what's the rundown? on this week's episode of Tokyo Ghoul. Pretty damned exciting right here, my friends. Like I said, this was a near-perfect episode. If it wasn't for the animation, which was a little sloppy in some parts and lacked a little bit of impact, I think this honestly could have been the best action episodes of the entire series. Despite that, like I said, it was really entertaining all the way through. It had my attention the whole time, and I like how little by little they are still giving us barely any information about the actual story, especially with Kaneki, who, again, barely said next to anything this week, and the fact that he's going through a transformation sequence at the end could have something to do with his heightened emotions when he's reminded of all of the people from Onteku. He even seems really shocked at the end, like he's never actually done this before, and he probably hasn't. And like I said, it looks like armor, not just the mask, but if you look at the final shot, you can almost see what looks like shoulder pads are wrapping around his shoulders as he's actually looking at the camera. So hopefully this is like a brand new power-up for him, and maybe they'll even decide to explain a little bit of really what's going on with him. But aside from the main character, I think the one that's really appealing to me the most is still the character of Detective Amon. I really like that they're actually getting into his backstory for once, and the fact that he himself is actually technically related to a ghoul really just shows why he's so dedicated to the cause. And he basically one-upped Akira this week, which I didn't expect. She seems like she was going to be the entire brains of the operation, but really not the brawn, especially when she was fighting against Naki. There was a scene where she was seemingly about to be killed, and she has this weird Kagane whip weapon, which actually has this blade which can extend from the actual handle which he used to stab Naki, which didn't really do much at all. I'm pretty much sure he's going to make a quick escape from this place. Otherwise, I really hope that the next episode is actually going to continue to be in this location, because it's basically just a big prison riot with all of these crazy ghouls, and I think this is an opportunity to do something really fun with that. Otherwise, this was a really high-quality episode of the series that if you have been following Tokyo Ghoul, you should definitely check out. The animation this week, while not the best, still made for a pretty entertaining episode. There's lots of twists, there's lots of turns. Kaneki's got a brand new power-up, so I'm going to give this week's episode a 4 out of 5. Check it out, guys. Pretty damn good episode. Thank you guys for watching my review. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and like the video. And before you guys leave today, please tell me what you thought about this week's episode of Tokyo Ghoul Route A. Did you have a favorite action scene that appeared this week? What's up with Kaneki's brand new powers? How did they manifest? And what is the relationship between Juzo and the twins? Remember guys, if you have not subscribed to our channel, you can do that by clicking on the channel icon right up here. It's really easy to do, and that way you'll be able to see all of our latest anime and manga reviews and our brand new podcast series. If you guys would like to support our channel, one of the best ways to do it is to use our PayPal link, which is in the description box below, or even better, use our Amazon Associates link. Whenever you buy something off there, it'll help support our channel. But the best way to support our channel is to watch our videos and to share them with your friends. Thank you guys for watching. Super Kami Guru 9000. Out. In this week's episode of Tokyo Ghoul, there's action. Humans versus Quincy's. I was about to say, this ain't Bleach. This ain't Bleach, bitch.